Well, Suella Braverman has thrown a huge bomb into Downing Street. Just a few hours ago, the former Home Secretary revealed her letter to the Prime Minister, and it's brutal. Suella savages Sunak over the course of 3 explosive pages, the likes of which have never really been seen before in British politics. Someone needs to be honest, she says. Your plan is not working. We have endured record election defeats. Your resets have failed, and we are running out of time. You need to change course urgently. But she goes further. And tonight, the Prime Minister stands accused of being a con man. She says, as you know, I accepted your offer to serve as Home Secretary in October 2022 on certain conditions. These included, number 1, reduce overall legal migration. Number 2, stopping the small boats, even if it means bypassing the ECHR. She goes on, I trusted you. It is generally agreed that my support was pivotal as a factor in winning the leadership contest and thus enabling you to become Prime Minister. She thinks he lied. She thinks he's more interested in serving a foreign European court than the British people. She thinks he put people in danger from extremists on our streets because he was too much of a coward to get tough on hate marches. But if you wanted more evidence, then look no further than the man he's replaced her with. James Cleverly, the guy whose support for Strasbourg is so extreme, he practically has a season ticket there. And this is the crux of Suella's scathing takedown. And I quote, I can only surmise that this is because you have no appetite for doing what is necessary and therefore no real intention of fulfilling your pledge to the British people. So, when Sunak looks you in the eye and says this...
Control of our borders.
I will not rest until the boats are stopped.
We will pass new laws to stop small boats. To keep my promise to you. To stop the boats.
Stop the boats.
Is he lying to us all? Is he using the office of Prime Minister simply as a way of beefing up his CV? But he's not getting away with it, and tonight I can reveal brand new and exclusive polling data carried out for us by the best pollster in the business, it's Matt Goodwin, which shows, amongst other things, a majority of 2019 Conservative voters didn't want Braverman sacked, just 23% of Tories strongly approve of Braverman's sacking, and just 11% of Tories strongly approve of Cameron coming back. Finally, in a telltale sign that it was Braverman reading the public mood all along, more voters of all persuasions back the Rwanda plan than oppose it. The decision on that, by the way, comes out for the Supreme Court tomorrow. That'll be tasty, won't it? Sunak was the man who stuck the knife into Boris Johnson. That's what many people think. Well, the knives are back out now, aren't they? And he's on the receiving end. Now, before I get my panel's unmissable reaction to another extraordinary day in British politics, let me bring in the man responsible for that bombshell polling I was revealing to you just a moment ago. It's top pollster and academic Matt Goodwin. Matt, thank you very, very much. Now, look, there's loads to go at here, OK? Absolutely loads to go at. Pretty damning, though, your polls. I'm going to throw it over to you in the sense that, clearly, and in terms of the Tory voters who voted Tory in 2019, they didn't really want Suella to go, and they do back Rwanda.
Yeah, I mean, look, what we're looking at, Patrick, is a Conservative Party that I think is really adrift from the voters it won in 2019 and needs to win back. What we see is large majorities of them, they want that Rwanda decision tomorrow to go their way. They want control of their own national borders. They're not impressed that Rishi Sunak dumped Suella Braverman. They're not impressed by the way that he brought back David Cameron. And here's the most revealing thing, Patrick. Here's the thing that really stood out. Nationally, only 11% of people think the Conservative Party represents people like them, that understands the concerns of ordinary working people. But among Conservative voters, the party's own supporters, only 27% think the Conservative Party understands their concerns. I mean, look, this is a party, Patrick, that is completely and utterly lost.
Indeed. And that is absolutely shocking, isn't it? And when you look at these decisions now to get rid of Suella and to bring in David Cameron, I mean, it has had absolutely no cut-through with people at all, has it? Was it worth it?
The Conservative Party, Patrick, as you know, is still leagues behind the Labour Party in the polls. It's on about 19% in our poll today. The Labour Party is cruising to a majority. Here's what is about to happen. The Conservative Party is going into an election defeat, but it's also going into a civil war, a philosophical, ideological civil war about what is conservatism. And Suella Braverman has outlined her vision of what that is today. Lower migration, get tough on crime, deport foreign nationals who glorify terrorism, leave any institution or judicial agreement that prevents us from controlling our own borders. So Suella Braverman, Patrick, this isn't just a pitch for the leadership. This is a rallying cry for a completely different brand of conservatism.
And what your polling data, both this time round, exclusively for this show, which we're very, very grateful for, Matt, but also historically as well, shows that those kind of views have the support of more people than not, don't they?
Well, I've consistently shown that Suella's positions on immigration, on multiculturalism, on how we should deal with Hamas terrorists, and they're terrorists, as we know, her views of police, her views of the institutions. Patrick, these aren't just 51% positions. These are 65, 70% positions. So, you know, Rishi Sunak has tried to cover up this by appointing Esther McVey as a minister for woke and whatever. But I think he's fundamentally gone wrong here, because there's no frontline conservative now that is speaking loudly and clearly to voters who want serious action on these issues. I'm sending this polling to number 10 tomorrow morning, Patrick, and I'm going to say with that polling, if you guys don't get back in touch with the 2019 Conservative voters, your defeat, it's going to be more devastating than 1997. I mean, this is a sort of, you know, survival event for the Conservative Party on these kinds of numbers. And I don't really think Rishi Sunak gets it, Patrick. I just don't think he understands who's voting for the party and why they're voting for the party.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Matt, thank you very, very much again for providing us with that exclusive content. Make sure that you do check Matt Goodwin out on Twitter. He's always got his finger on the pulse there, and on Substack as well. He's a top pollster, top academic, and top friend of the show as well.